Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are around the world. Hope everyone's having a good day. We're back in Forza Horizon 5 and we're going to be tackling the Colossus, which is the big race at the end of the Apex Road Racing series.
Colossus, the biggest road race we've ever made. Are you ready?
And I'm doing this video a little bit differently because, I was going to do this. In fact, this video did have live commentary until it didn't. So the advantage now is I know exactly what happens as I now commentate. And the reason for that is because I adjusted some mic settings. And it's beyond repair, basically. Something I can't edit in post to the entire thing. So I'm doing it again. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to waste the footage. And in today's race, we have the Porsche 911 GT2 RS in the kind of silver and black liveried colour scheme. It's a good car. We are in S1 class, so it's a bit faster. And yeah, so we should be technically doing this race a little bit quicker than the Goliath. But then again, I'm actually not sure how long each of them are. I don't know if this is longer or it's shorter. But in terms of this footage, it's around 20 minutes total for the race-ish. Might be a little bit less, actually. But yeah. We managed to get ourselves into 5th position. Quite nice. And then 4th as we go past an S1 Morris Minor, which we've used on this channel before. And I've overdone it slightly there. Yeah. You will be seeing a few times where I'm going to be visiting the sim racer's best friend, Barry R. Barry R has met us a few times in the past, and we will continue to meet him repeatedly today because for some reason I'm just not great at judging for some reason today. Because that's what Forza, particularly sprint racing, is about. Especially if you're not that familiar and everyone's using different cars all the time, so it's got different kind of braking points and braking distances and how well your brakes actually perform, even if you have upgraded them maybe a little bit, etc. You get the point. It's more of, it's less muscle memory like you would do on a normal track game, well, for a track race. In any of the sim racing game is what I kind of meant. But Forza is more, you improvise, and you're not really using the same or similar car. Because when you're sim racing, I feel that people tend to have a specialization, whether it's F1 cars or GT cars or whatever. So you kind of know roughly to do with your car. So I went round here, almost doing the move here for 3rd place, but I did kind of lift off because I didn't want to push it too far. So we've kind of held our 4th position, although we were side by side for a moment, but 3rd place got the momentum. So, in terms of the Porsche, particularly the 911 series, is probably quite infamous. And has done quite well over the last few years on the Nürburgring as well. And we've got another Porsche behind us, an exact copy of what ours is. Because what I tend to do is I don't really mind what my car colour is or kind of livery or whatnot. So I tend to keep it. Sometimes I change it, sometimes I don't in Forza. But I like the kind of variety of colours that you kind of have, and yeah. So this bit, that corner definitely flat out. Want to kind of lift off and brake maybe a little bit there, just to make sure we are on track. Make sure we're not going too far. But this bit definitely, we've got the momentum, so we're going to make the move. We're now in 3rd and we're now behind another Porsche. And I believe, is it a BMW in front, I think? I think it's an M3. That we have leading the pack, leading the race in this, and we're 30% through. So we're not even halfway done yet. And it feels like we've done quite a bit more. Because we're around, what, 5 minutes or so into the video. Now we've got a little bit of technical section here because we are moving into the city, because you know you've got to be careful, particularly with the edges. You don't want to go in too close because obviously the buildings and stuff aren't even, they kind of stick out. You don't want to be going over and smacking yourself and losing places. It's not what you want to do. You're a little bit cautious here. Don't want to smack in the back, but I do nick him a little bit. But because of that, I've kind of gained second and just heard the little door bash there. So I'm like, is he beside me? Is he not? But I think we've got second place now. We're right behind the BMW, the M3, classic BMW, which I quite like, despite, you know, BMW's reputation. They are quite nice cars. They're fast cars. I've got a few of them in the Forza garage. So I'll be probably using 1 or 2 of them in the near future. In fact, I don't even think I've used a BMW yet, have I? I don't think. But yeah. We're now 40% in. We're second place. And we're hunting that pole position. I'm being a bit careful. I'm being a bit more cautious. I'm being a bit more sim-like. Kind of taking my time because I know this isn't a short race. This is a long race and we're only 40% in. I kind of did a bit of a love tap to his side rear arch there. And he's been able to get the kind of momentum to get a little bit of distance. But I'm still there on his tail. Probably braked a little bit too early there. And here we have basically we have a Porsche train, which is quite cool. If we had a track cam or anything from spectators, that would have been really cool, just to kind of see that, particularly from a sim racing point of view. That'd be really cool. Here comes a corner where we definitely need to brake. I do that quite well. I have a bit of sliding. The car that we're in, the Porsche, this GT2, is very good. I do like it a lot. Its handling is great. Its speed is great. Oh, we've just had a little bit of a bump. We're back up to second there. But I think when I'm going on full power from full braking, we sometimes do get a bit of a wiggle at the rear. And we have the momentum on the inside of the BMW, and we've taken first place. We've taken pole. So let's see if we can defend this, and we can have this out for another half of this race, because we're at 49% of this race done. Now this section here, I swear, is in the Voce mission story, so I know to be careful around this section. Not to put too much power in, and to kind of half coast, half accelerate, or de-accelerate round, because you do not want to be flying off into our good friend Barrier, which I haven't actually gone into too many times this race, but still not an entirely clean race that I would say I'm comfortably happy with. Regardless, we are doing well. We're holding first position. We've just gone onto the grass ever so slightly there. So glad it was dry grass, because if that was wet grass in a more of a racing environment, in terms of physics, that probably would have spun us out. But now we come with the long straights, and the long straights are the problem for me, and not a problem for the driver task, because as we know from the Goliath from last race, we know what happens when the driver tars have a long straight. They will have the huge speed momentum to go past us. So we've got to be careful that they don't do that and just end up just going past us like we're nothing. We are going to now visit Mr. Barrier right there, misjudging corner speed. And that was nice. Probably could have left it maybe half a second later to do that break, but it was good nonetheless. We had a good entry, we had a good exit, and good use of space off the road, which is good. This one I went a little bit wider, but it worked out. We didn't make a mistake. We managed to go through and follow through with that corner. Can we do the same with this one? Oh, we've got someone on the inside. And they've now taken first place. Porsche is the manufacturer that's now leading this race in position 1 and 2. And I want my first position back. So let's try and get it. Try not to go too close and do an absolute smack. A little touch here and there, that's fine. I've just had a look behind me. See who's maybe creeping up. I'm in the grass a little bit, in the greenery. On both sides there. Go around full speed. Maybe not full speed. Probably need a little brake rather than coasting around that. As we say hello to our old friend again. And there it is again. I want to defend this, so I'm like, nope. Right. Tight corner. Out we go. We've got a new third place contender who's going to be trying to challenge me for second place. We're 67% through the race. I'm not giving up yet on that first position because we have plenty of time to get it back. Yes, we're more than halfway through, but we still have the chance because we are closing in the gap. Ooh. Oh dear. I think the driver tars braked there where I would have followed through there because I think that corner would have been enough for us to just accelerate and follow all the way through. Which is fine. Which is fine. I think part of my reason of misjudging things in this race was I've just come from some multiplayer matches and I'm now committed to just having the braking line on now because people are just, they don't have any brain cells. Now because we have a long straight here, I'm basically, I'm rewinding that. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I looked behind me as a corner was coming up. So, don't do that. Do it when there's a straight. Like on this one. Yeah, kind of like this, for example. Because I'm like, I'm not screwing that up. Oh, hell no. No need to judge me for a rewind. Everybody does it every so often. I hardly use them. Hardly use them. Only in dire situations do I use it. And particularly up for that straight. Before I did that, I was trying to make sure I defend the position. And oh dear, we're going to rewind again because that's a huge mistake. Huge. And I admit that. I was not looking how far away that corner was. Because that's the thing what you've got to do. You've got to judge the yards that it tells you for the next checkpoint. And that's where you kind of set, that's where I'm going to be doing my break point. How far away from that corner? Because the checkpoints usually are on the corners or on the apex of these corners. So it's kind of a good indicator to kind of say, maybe 100 yards, maybe 110, or maybe a little bit less, dependent on how severe, how fast, or how slow that corner actually is. But not to matter, I make mistakes, everybody does. And the great thing about having rewind on is it doesn't affect your credit rating, actually. Your credits that you get at the end, which there's a lot of it that I'm surprised that it doesn't affect it. Like the braking line, I don't think affects it. Which I was very surprised. When I first launched this game and I looked into the difficulties and the assists and what you could do and what you couldn't do, the amount of things that I expected it from previous games, because from previous Forza Horizons it would affect it. No, not here. Which I think makes this game more accessible. You know, it means you're not compromising credits just because you're not as skilled or need more assists, because it could be anybody that could struggle with anything. You know, you could struggle with judging distances really badly. I mean, obviously I do, because, you know, I'm visiting the barrier quite often. But anyway, we're 90% in. We are 10%. We're 10% off. We are 10%, no, we're less than 10% from finishing this monster of a race for the Apex Road Racing series, which is pretty awesome. Slow down for that. Gotta make sure I don't make any mistakes whatsoever now. No mistakes, even if I have to be a little bit cautious, like on that corner there, probably could have waited a little bit. And this one's definitely full brake, get that turn in, and get that speed out. Because that's what we need from here on out. We need to win this, we need to be first place. And we need to make sure we don't do things like that. Good job it was just a little barrier, a little bump, rather than a huge ass crash. And here we are in basically the last section now. I'm looking behind me and I'm looking and that Porsche is there. Now see, what I was thinking was, oh, I can defend that by if I go across slightly, he'll back off, which is what the Drivatars kind of do. That he'd come up really quickly. But I've got this in the bag. As I whacked Barry off for the last time and across the line. Yes, not my cleanest race. A little bit sketchy here and there, but got the job done. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. $16.10. Right.
What a win. Not bad, Superstar.
There we go. We've got a double Porsche on the podium. That's alright, isn't it? That is that complete. And that's the Apex Road Racing series completely complete. And we're going to be tackling dirt racing next. Guys, that's going to do it for today. If you enjoyed this video and like to see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. Discord links in the description below. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Take care.